SportsMax panel of experts will finalize their picks for batsmen 3 to 5 in our Ultimate Test 11. We are down to 5 of the greatest batsmen of all time, and the panel has to choose 3 today. Who will they choose from this list that you're looking at? Lara, Tendulkar, Bradman, Ivey Richards, Steve Smith, 2 West Indians, 2 Australians, and India's little master. Welcome again to the SportsMax Ultimate Test 11 discussions. The Zone team will also be releasing its 3 players today, while you have until the 22nd of May to continue voting for your favourites. Remember, your votes count for 40% of the overall decision, while the panel and the Zone team both each have a 30% say. To cast your vote, all you have to do is go to www.sportsmax.tv/ultimate and select your 11. One man who seems to be in most teams is the Prince of Port of Spain, Brian Charles Lara. He continues to lead the online polls with 26.82%, ahead of Tendulkar and Ivey Richards. And I have to explain here that when we finished our discussion on the Zone on Thursday, we were down to 4 minus Bradman. But the producers, in their wisdom, have resuscitated the Australian legend, and he now is back in contention. So Sir Don Bradman is back among the decision today, and he is among the 5 joining the 4 that we decided on yesterday. Heated discussions after the show ended on Thursday, Mariah, and a lot of it surrounded the omission of Bradman, and some of it surrounded the inclusion of Steve Smith.
Well, yes, Lance. And I mean, the discussion not only happened in work, because when I left and I went on social media, the discussion was raging on social media. You know, on Facebook, everybody was talking about the fact that we didn't leave Bradman in there, because in their mind, we were the ones that took him out, right? They were extremely upset. The comments were going, people was actually arguing with each other on our SportsMax page based on the fact that, you know, oh, you don't know your cricket, you didn't see Bradman play, and Lance, social media was lighting up. I think I even sent you a screenshot.
One of the comments, yes.
Yes, and I also have to say I'm happy to see Brian Lara is a part of it. He seems to be very untouchable when it comes into the discussion, because not much people are actually disputing his place. I'm happy to see that, because based on my conversation, he's definitely watching the Zone.
Okay. Orville Higgins, as we start to introduce our panelists for today, we'll be happy, I'm sure, that Bradman is back. Regional cricket umpire Chris Taylor returns from yesterday. Tino Best is back in the attack as well for the first time in these discussions. We also have Sachin Ramsabag, regional cricket commentator out of Trinidad and Tobago. The final votes will also include submissions from Chris Daring and David Brooke, who were part of the process on days 1 and 2. Let's go to our panelists immediately, and we'll start here. Let's get Chris Taylor's comments first. That Bradman is back in, because when we left here yesterday, he was out. I'll leave Orville to comment last on this, because he's a big Bradman man. But let's hear what you gentlemen have to say first of all about Bradman's introduction by the Zone production team. Chris Taylor.
Greetings all. I see that the media pressure had SportsMax wagging, man. Bradman getting back in there. I think, I mean, fair enough, with a man averaging just a shade under 100. You would like to think that a lot of people would have been making a debate for him. So I would say that's a bit expected based on what he has achieved, based on how persons around the world have lauded him as the best around. But I still think he comes into a stiff conversation here. And just based on the fact of his limited batting against all opposition and his limited touring. And I think that might come into question here when he comes up against the other big names in this discussion. But interesting one. As I said, I was a bit surprised as well that it did come down to Steve Smith being involved. But I guess his recent form and all that he's done so far in his 73 test matches, I mean, warrants him a big talk with an average of 62. So it certainly will be interesting. I think my 3 have already been decided, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Bradman, 99.94 batting average. Tino Best, good to have you back after a couple of days. How does the reintroduction of Sir Donald Bradman grab you? Tino. I think we're having some audio issues with Tino. Aren't we hearing him? He's frozen.
Let's hear from Sachin.
Okay, well, let's hear from Sachin then. The Trini joining us for this discussion. Welcome, Sachin. You have a big cricket name. Sir Donald Bradman is the topic at the moment. You're on for the first time in the process. Does Sir Don Bradman legitimately take his place in this group of 5 that we're looking at?
Hey, absolutely, Alanza. Thank you very much, guys, for having me on your show, and good day to all the viewers as well. And I think, yeah, definitely, Sir Don Bradman, I'm not too sure why he left the entire list, firstly, but you know what? I think he's a spectacular player. Many persons viewing right now, I'm thinking maybe everybody's viewing right now, would have never gotten a chance to see Sir Bradman in full action. However, I think with an average of 99, I don't think there's anybody that can come close to that, and certainly so. I looked at Orville Higgins, and I saw Bradman written across his forehead immediately when we were off air. But you know what? I think he is certainly the very first man that should be on your list. And yeah, Orville, I really do hope that we stick with Don Bradman today, guys. And certainly so. You're probably very, very much in touch that, yeah, he's definitely part of my list indeed. You're going to hear from my other 2 as well coming down later in the show. But Don Bradman certainly has deserved his spot at the ultimate 11 for Test match cricket.
Sachin, what about the point that Chris made that, Bradman may not have faced the different types of bowling and all that, played at the different venues that all the other contestants would have faced?
Yeah, I hear his point. You know what? But I think I want to use the analogy of if you hit a 6 straight back over the bowler's head on a 50-yard boundary, or if you hit a 6 over the bowler's head on a 75-yard boundary, the scorecard will still have 6 runs. It will not say against which opposition. So I still think that I hear Chris' point. Chris, your point is certainly valid, my friend. But I think Don Bradman, I don't think the opposition really matters. Statistics has its way of proving itself time and time again. And I know you are a guy who says stats not really all the time works in benefit of the player. However, in this instance, I want to give Sir Don the edge because of that stat. I mean, come on, that's some serious work there. 5,078 runs, batting at position number 3 with an average of 103. I don't think there's anybody in world cricket right now who could touch that.
I think that's a good point to go to Orville, because Orville, Sachin has come, as we try to sort out Tino's audio issues, Orville has come under a lot of pressure here on local radio here in Jamaica, because he has announced that Sir Donald Bradman is the greatest sportsman of all time. Not greatest batsman of all time, but the greatest and most dominant sporting personality or performer of all time across all sports. So that is his position with Sir Don. So Orville, I'm pretty certain that you feel comfortable that Sir Don is back in business on the SportsMax Cricket 11 Ultimate.
First of all, I want him to comment on the fact that he didn't know until he left the building. So when he found out, how he felt.
The panel came to their senses, obviously. You can't have a cricket discussion about all-time great without leaving Don Bradman. I don't think people realize who this guy is. Let me give you one statistics. Don Bradman is averaging 99. The next best set of greats in world cricket are in the 50s, and that Test cricket started in 1877. Don Bradman started in 1928. That's almost 50 years before Bradman. 50 years before Bradman, the great batsmen were 40s, 50s. During Bradman's time, the next greats were 40s, 50s. Long after Bradman played, the greats now closer to 50s. One exception to all that is one man in the middle of that coming to average 99. This guy started in 1930. By 1932, the entire England decided that we are going to have to find a way to stop you. They came up with the most contentious series in the history of mankind called the Bodyline series. Bradman in that series averaged 56, and the entire England felt that the Bodyline series worked. Now 56 is better than most of the people who we are discussing in a series where he was supposed to have failed. How do you, yes, the eras, we understand that, but people make it sound that because he didn't bat Warren or Mirali or didn't face Holding or what, there are some things in cricket that Don Bradman had it worse than some of these current players. For one, uncovered wickets, people. Rainfall, the umpire said play, and sticky dog as we call it. No protective gear. I don't care how fast a guy is. I would prefer to bat the world's fastest bowler in protective gear than a high school pace bowler in a cap. Right. Don Bradman was not normal, okay? Don Bradman, whatever else we want to do, we cannot discount a man who was scoring a century on average every 2.7 innings. No other sportsman is so far removed from what the next best in his sports was doing. Don Bradman, as you heard Lance saying earlier, not just the greatest batsman, I think that should be a given, but which other sportsman in history is so much better than the other greats in his sport? 99 to the 50s of the others? Come on.
Yeah, all right, Tino, let's see if your audio is back up. Are you hearing us now, Tino Best? Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you now. Are you hearing us?
Yeah, loud and clear. Listen, I had some audio issues. Good evening to the panel. It's a pleasure to be with you guys. Listen, my three, all due respect, Orville, I do love Don Bradman, and what you were saying is absolutely correct. But to be fair, bro, I did not see him. I did not know how the bowlers bowled at him. Back in those days, it was more of a gentleman's game. Guys more pitched up the ball and to bowl a short ball. You got to remember one thing. In that period of time, we had a guy called Roy Gilchrist, who was the first generation of aggressive West Indian fast bowlers. And he was not liked by his own white West Indian captain because he was aggressive. He bowled a lot of bouncers, and if he got his head hot, he would throw a beamer in you as well. So that period of cricket, it was not kind to bowl short pitch bowling or to be aggressive. You had to run up and try to bowl guys. And Don Bradman had a very solid defense, and his record says it. My three, giving all of that into account, and I respect Sir Don Bradman, but is an era that was the gentleman's game. The three that I have picked have played in all surfaces all over the world against some of the most aggressive and the most attacking bowlers in the world. And at number three, my three out of those five is Sachin Tendulkar at 3, Brian Charles Lara at 4, and Sir Ivey Richards at 5.
Can I just say something to Tino there?
Yeah, go ahead.
You did say, Tino, that cricket in those days was the gentleman's game and was not about bowlers bowling intimidating and aggressive. I mentioned at the top that the most contentious series where bouncers are concerned was that Bodyline series in 1932. No batsman in the history of the game has been so targeted by short balls in an entire series. The series almost caused diplomatic relations between two countries to go awry. That Bodyline series puts a dent in the argument that Bradman never had to bat bouncers. He averaged 56 in that series, scoring 4 half-centuries in 8 innings, made 56, and the Englishmen said, well, the series worked because you didn't get your 100 and odd average or 90 odd average. Had there been no Bodyline series, then I would agree with your argument, but that Bodyline series in 1932 stands out that when the bowling is short and attacking, people were getting hit left, right, and center. That guy could stand up and average 56. Which is his worst series, but it is still better than the career average of most of who we're discussing. That should do it for me.
Tino is trying.
It was one series. We are talking of a body of work. We are talking of a body of work when it comes to athletes at the greatest test team, my brother. We are not talking about a one series. So one series that Bradman got targeted, the countries near went war, and then it went back to gentleman's game. Don Bradman cannot be in our greatest 11 if we're talking about a body of work, sir.
Can't agree.
Are you serious?
Can't agree. That one series shows what he could have done. The body of work is 29 centuries, Tino.
Yes.
That's the body of work. The body of work says a 99 average.
Orville, the guys could best bowl on the arm as Sir Don Bradman. Think of the best body ball on the arm.
No, they weren't bowling on the arm at Don Bradman, I can tell you that.
The Bodyline series got so much attention, Orville, also because it had never been seen before in the history of cricket.
I agree.
It was the first ever that bowlers decided to try and bowl into the rib section of batsmen.
Chris, we've set up the debate. We're going to go to break now, but I would suggest that if it was the first in history that anyone was seeing that kind of bowling and Bradman could still average 56, it probably says something about the Australian anyhow. But we go to break. When we come back, we start our detailed discussion and debate on cutting 2 out of the 5 that we have to choose from in our Ultimate Cricket 11 on SportsMax. It's batsmen 3 to 5 being decided in the next 2 minutes after the break. There they are, Lara, Tendulkar, Bradman, Ivey Richards, and Steve Smith. We've got to get 3 from that 5 from our panelists who are on today. Back in a moment.
Will Bradman Zone, I see the discussion is getting heated. I'm sure you are excited to see will Don Bradman make the cut or will he go? We now take a look at Kumar Sangakkara discussing Brian Lara and Sachin Tendulkar on the SportsMax Zone.
I've got to be honest. It's always been Brian ever since I saw him bat. So it'll always be Brian. I just like the way he bats. He's amazing. Sachin is an amazing cricketer. He's achieved everything and much more than any cricketer will ever achieve in the history of the game. But there's always a personal like when you follow a player. And Sachin has not just my respect, but the respect of everyone in the world. But Lara's, he's again just a special player. You watch him, you want to watch him more, and he bats more, and you watch him more, and it's just amazing that from that high backlift to the tempo of his innings, the way he takes on bowlers and challengers. It's just an incredible sight to see, and I think it's not just me. I've had discussions again with players from around the world, and the name Brian Lara brings up a lot of admiration. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'd give up all my test runs if I could, bat like Brian. So it's not going to happen, but hopefully in another life.
And I think that's the sentiments of a lot of the people that have been voting, a lot of the panelists. So Brian Lara in the entire debate seems to be, I have to say, untouchable, because whenever his name comes up, there's no opposition. Lance, I'll start with you. Do you think he's untouchable when it comes to this Ultimate 11? Does he just walk into his position?
I wouldn't think he walks into it, because we're looking at a group of really iconic players. So he gets in but doesn't walk in because...
But nobody has opposed Lance.
There are people who are opposed. There are people... I know people who do not have Brian Lara in their all-time West Indies 11. I can tell you that.
Well, you know what? I need to...
But I accept him there because his appetite for runs, how spectacularly he makes his runs. He is... On a given day when he wants to make runs, he's unstoppable. So I have no difficulty with BC Lara in this 11.
Tino? Let's see if Tino's on.
Yes.
Lance, it is absolutely blasphemous that you would even hint that there's a slight inkling of doubt when it comes to Brian Lara. Listen to me.
Tino, can I stop you? Tino, can I stop you? Can I stop you, Tino?
Okay.
I said that I know people who do not have and Barbadians, I should say, they are right there with you, some of them, who do not have Brian Lara in their all-time West Indies 11. That's what I said. I have Brian Lara in my Ultimate 11, so don't quarrel with me, Tino. Anyway, go ahead.
It is blasphemous for any cricket fan on the face of the earth, and even in Mars, and even in the farthest part of the galaxy in Pluto, to even comprehend or even have the inkling of doubt that Brian Lara is not the greatest batsman that we've ever seen in this generation or ever cricket.
Yeah.
This man has scored 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. The only thing this man never do is score 600, and I think he scored 600 already that we never see.
Tino, you said something very important.
It isn't even an argument.
You said something very important just now. You said batsmen that you have seen. There are people who saw batsmen that you didn't see.
But Lance, Kumar Sangakkara, who I think is arguably one of the toughest cricketers that I've ever played against, brother, have given this man his accolades. To Garfield Sobers, the great Sir Don Bradman. Brother man, we got to give Jack his jacket. Brian Lara's the greatest batsman in the world, because to me, if a man can score from 100 to 500, brother, you don't understand how much discipline that is, like, mentally, brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Tino, I want to jump in here.
Listen, wait.
Yes, Sachin, let's hear Sachin.
Wait. I just want to make this one point.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
The last, I have been watching Michael Jordan for the last 8 episodes. I'm not saying that Brian Lara is the greatest athlete of all time. To me, he's in the top 10 athletes in any sport. But we talking about mindset. I have sat in dressing rooms with this man. See this man, how he work, his work ethic. Played against every single test playing nation in the world and see how they treat and think about this man. Guys got sleepless nights, brother. This man was the Michael Jordan of cricket. Barack Obama, my brother. Say that this man is the Michael Jordan of cricket. I'm gonna even got the inkling of doubt. Man, come on, man.
Well, let's hear from the Trini. Let's hear from the man from Trinidad.
You know, you sound like a really nice budding diplomat, but here's what. You never sat in a dressing room with Sachin Tendulkar, right? So had you sat in the dressing room with Sachin? Did you sit in the same dressing room for an entire test series, Tino? In the same dressing room?
Wait.
In the same dressing room with Sachin Tendulkar for an entire test series.
What you say, Sachin? What you say? You get name after the great man. We get all of that. We give you your respect.
I'm not arguing the point because I got the name after Sachin.
I know, but listen, Sachin Tendulkar is batting at number 3 for me, you know. I'm not saying that Sachin Tendulkar can make my team. Sachin is at number 3. Brian Lara is number 4. So
Brian Lara versus Sachin Tendulkar, position number 4. You want to hear the stats at position number 4? Batting at position
go
number
ahead,
4.
brother. Go ahead, my brother.
Lara, 7,535, average of 51. Sachin Tendulkar, 13,492 with an average of 54.
Okay.
However, you were chatting about records to 375, the 400s, etc.
From 1 to 500.
Let me take you back. Let me take you back to 1994. 375. What happened to the West Indies? They drew the match. 2004. What happened to the West Indies when he scored 400? The match was drawn. I agree with you that Brian Lara is probably the greatest thing ever, but I think that the West Indian passion is coming out a bit right now when comparison to Sachin.
No, but hold on. Sachin. Brian, you and I like how you reeled out the 375 and the 400. But the most rated innings of all time is the 153 made in Barbados, where West Indies won the match. Some of the innings that Brian Lara has played has been ranked in the top 10 of all innings of all time. So when it comes to outstanding innings, there's no comparison between Sachin and Brian Lara in terms of match-winning innings.
You can't call for the statistics conveniently. The very same people who rated that 153 among the very best innings of all time rates Don Bradman as the greatest test batsman of all time. So you can't call for the statistics when it pleases you, and don't call for it when it doesn't please you. Just say.
Wait, hold on, Orville.
Yeah.
Orville, wait, hold on. Hold on, Orville.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to this here from a very personal standpoint, right, brother? The people that pick these people, right, is who? The Australians and the English, brother. We were talking about, you don't see the big analyst of the West Indies team or the West Indies journalists picking who's the greatest cricketer. It's always the cricketer.
No, Martino, all I'm saying is that I agree with Chris that Lara's 153 is widely regarded by Wisden as among the top innings ever played. There's a 270 by Bradman, by the way, that sometimes is in that pole position as well. But all I'm saying, those same Wisden statistics will tell you that Don Bradman is the #1 test batsman of all time. So we can't use the statistics conveniently.
Yeah. I did not say that Wisden quoted it. I said that most regard the innings of 153 by Brian Lara to be the best of all time.
Influenced by Wisden.
Or the second best or the third best. The point is, he has many innings throughout his career that are rated in the top 10 or top 20 of greatest innings of all time. I am not saying that Sir Donald Bradman, my argument against Sir Donald Bradman has nothing to do with his innings. I am saying that Sir Donald Bradman played 37 matches out of 52 against one team.
Right.
In one series. In one series, hold on, Tino. In one series, where persons decided to bowl in his ribs. Not his nose, not his head,
no,
in
not
his
true.
ribs.
There was a lot of bumpers head height, my boss. Don't do that.
So then,
show me one clip.
So then,
show me one clip.
Yeah, listen.
Show me one clip, Orville.
You want me to show you one thing?
Sir Donald Bradman averaged
All right,
56.
let's look at some footage with Bradman in that series
Where he was batting.
and tell us if it's pulling or hooking or what. You decide. Well, that looked like a pull.
Yeah.
That was a pull.
And look at the bowling as well, because that seems to be a big conversation, the type of bowling that he faced.
Yeah, that was a lot higher. That was to the chest.
Mickey Mouse.
Yeah,
The keeper-
those were just pulls.
keeper
Yeah,
to the steps, buddy.
yeah. I think Tino said from day one when we were talking about the opening batsman that he had looked at some of these black and white pictures from the past and wasn't too impressed with the bowling. But you know, we could spend the entire show, gentlemen, talking about BC Lara, the Prince of Port of Spain, but we've got to move on. Ivey Richards. Who takes Ivey Richards first? Let's go to Chris.
Are you for him or against him?
Just assess him because we have to cut two off the five. So just assess him.
I have the same three as Tino. The difference for me is I have Ivey Richards batting at 3. Reason being, I want my number 3 to be the most counter-attacking batsman, the most intimidating player, because he sets the tone for the rest of the orders. I have never seen another batsman in the history of cricket be as intimidating as Ivey Richards to fast bowlers. And for me, as a number 3, I think he is the best of the lot in terms of setting that tone for the rest of the innings. Ivey Richards, all great bowlers in that time just shook their head when you mentioned that name. They walked wide of him. They didn't even want to come close to him. He was so feared as he walked out. There was goosebumps around, that kind of feeling. He totally changed cricket in the 70s and 80s because of his demeanor, that gum chewing, batting without a helmet. So for me, averaging 61 as a number 3 batsman, being the most intimidating counter-attacking batsman, played against all and sundry except maybe South Africa. For me, he gets my number 3 position any day, any time.
Yeah.
I think Ivey Richards at his best is incomparable at number 3.
All right.
I want to hear
Tino, your impressions on Ivey Richards.
Absolute legend, and what Chris is saying is absolutely correct. I give you 2 stories.
Yeah, quickly.
My uncle scored his first Test 100 at Kensington Oval, and the reason why my uncle scored that 100 is that Viv roughed up Devon Malcolm, so it made it easier for my uncle at another end. That's one. So Vivian Richards, number 2. When it came to apartheid South Africa and having an open check and saying to himself, look, I am going to play for the people of the Caribbean, the ice, gold, and green. It was the most iconic statement ever. He is my Muhammad Ali of the generations. And in terms of cricketing mindset and what he did for Caribbean people. And what Chris is saying is brilliant. I would put him at 3. It's like those 3 spots is Lara, Tendulkar, Viv. Whoever want to bat at 3, 4, 5, they decide.
All right.
Viv, iconic and awesome.
All right, Sachin and Orville. Any dissenting voices for Ivey Richards in the top 3 that we're selecting?
Let me just say this, Lance. To argue against Viv Richards for me is very, very difficult because prior to Brian Lara coming along, Viv was the ultimate hero for us as Caribbean boys. But we're comparing Viv to other people. And if you want to nitpick, because you have to find a reason why, because for me it's Steve Smith, Bradman, Lara. To nitpick a little bit about Viv Richards, the truth is that Viv Richards in the 80s never faced the best bowling attack in his day. And the difference between him statistically and Lara and Tendulkar is round about the same, 50, 51, 52.
What was wrong with the bowling that Viv faced?
No. I'm saying the best bowling attack in his time, he didn't have to face because those people were on his side. The other thing that Brian Lara had to face that Viv Richards never had to face a lot is pressure of what his innings meant to the outcome of the game. Viv Richards knew, for the most part, that whether I fail or do not fail, my team will win. If not the test match, then the series. Which is a luxury that Brian Lara did not have. I mean, it may not sound like a great point, but Brian Lara knew that my innings may determine, well, at one point, not only whether West Indies won or lost, but how long the game would go. Viv Richards could go there in this very cavalier fashion and knew that if I get out cheaply, we win. If I make runs, we win. And just that little ability to bat under pressure is what gives Lara the edge over Viv for me, which, like I said, is a very difficult decision because Viv is not normal.
All right. Sachin, are you with or against Viv for this?
I want to go with Sir Viv, not only to the point where he's the only West Indian captain to never lose a Test series, but I want to position Sir Viv at number 5, and I'll tell you why. I hear Tino's point, and I agree with Chris as well. But number 5, let's just say one or two games, or maybe even more, your team collapses from the openers, come all the way down, and the fielding team is on top of the game. Their tails are wagging high. Sir Viv steps onto the field, and you know what? He smashes the balls to all parts, scoring probably the quickest century ever to be in record. You know what? I think he will put the fielding team on the back foot and not only give some much-needed impetus into the innings, but I think he would really continue his dominance as his demeanor moves around him. He's a cool character. He's cool as a cucumber, but you know what? He's the creme de la creme of power hitting and timing. Sir Viv, when he walks onto the field, he brings an aura that, hey, victory is inevitable for the West Indies team. So I would put him at position number 5, as well as, you know why I picked him? He's a part-time bowler, and I'm going to put a twist on this here now. Yes, Test match cricket, sometimes your frontline bowlers don't always pick up your big wickets. You have to turn to your part-timers, and Sir Viv was one of those who can have done both.
And I think when you hear from a lot of the players that faced him, Wasim Akram, recently spoke about the fact that he used to fear Viv. So having somebody like that on your team, knowing that the opponent will crumble, just, the fear of having them on the team is always an asset. We move along now to Steve Smith. Many people are questioning this inclusion. I'll start with you, Tino. How do you feel about having Steve Smith in the 5? 3 to 5.
I'm actually really surprised. I thought you guys would have gone with Virat Kohli. I think that Virat Kohli body of work is incredible. I think he's going to be the greatest cricketer from 2010 to 2022, 2023, whenever he retires. I think maybe talking about this debate in the next 10, 15 years from today, I think you've got to include Virat Kohli. So I was very surprised that you guys did not include him. On the hand of Steve Smith, very unorthodox. I like his style. He would definitely be in my touring party, but he will have to wait to get to play if one of them big 3 get injured.
So he's running water.
Yeah, I would have if you guys had to bring me in on a wild card, I would not say Steve Smith. I would say Virat Kohli. That's just my take on him.
Virat Kohli is arguably, well, not arguably, I think he's the best batsman across all three formats, hands down. But Test cricket, a 62 average after 73 games.
But Tino, Virat Kohli averages 52 in Test cricket and Steve Smith 62.
Can't compare them as Test batsmen.
I want to make a point to you guys. I want to make 2 quick points to you guys, right? That cricketers just think about. No, Steve Smith got dropped from Australia. Am I right?
He got what?
Dropped. He said he got dropped.
Therefore?
Dropped when?
Yes. Steve Smith.
Yeah, he was dropped initially.
For the
when he just started at the beginning of his career.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead with the point then. Yes.
Yes, he got dropped right at the beginning of his career. Have Virat Kohli been dropped from an Indian Test team?
No.
Okay, thank you. No, I don't want to make a second point. We talk about Matthew Hayden, right? And Matthew Hayden spent 7 years away from international cricket, but we still put him as our opening top pick because of the way he came back, his ability to bounce back. Now, Steve Smith's ability to bounce back puts him in the conversation.
Yes.
But if we're talking about a wild card and the upper echelons of those big 3 that we just spoke about, the only body that could infiltrate those big 3 to me is Virat Kohli, not Steve Smith.
Okay, our gentlemen, we have to go to voting now. Mariah, is this the point at which the zone team announces the 3 that we have for batsmen, 3 and 5?
I'm excited to see what the rest of you voted for.
The rest of us?
Yeah, because I know what my picks are.
No, well, we're just going to see what the consensus is, not what each person voted for.
So the winners, Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar, and Don Bradman. Those are my 3 picks.
Those are your 3 picks?
Exact 3.
One of my picks didn't make it.
Which one?
Ivey Richards.
Okay, well then, you have to depend now on the panelists who are really rallying behind.
Yes,
Ivey Richards.
I had Lara, Ivey Richards, and Bradman. Those were my three but the zone team on consensus chose that three.
Well, time to vote.
Yeah, but we have to move quickly now to the panelists and to confirm the three. A couple of them, including Tino, have already announced their three. But just for confirmation and reaffirmation, your three, Tino, were?
Wait, I think.
Sachin Tendulkar at number 3. Sir Brian Charles Lara at 4. And Sir Vivian Isaac Richards at 5.
Okay, but Lara isn't a sir yet, though, is he?
Pardon me?
he calls him sir.
No, you just said Sir Brian Charles Lara.
I know Trinidad is a republic.
Yeah.
So obviously he can't be a sir, but we knight him Sir Brian Charles down here. He played his greatest innings 153 in Barbados, so we knight him to Charles Lara.
I hear you, Tino.
Sachin?
Sachin, let's hear your three. Confirm your three for us.
I'm gonna go with Sir Don at position number 3. Position number 4, I'm gonna go with Sachin Tendulkar and Sir Viv at position number 5.
No Brian?
Okay, so the Trinity doesn't have BC Lara.
Not good. Are you sure? Is he sure he wants to remain in Trinidad?
He has the answer to Tino at some point. Tino, relax. I know you're getting angry, but just relax a bit. Let's get Chris's three now.
I would love to face you on a green track, some pulls and cuts, but you know what? I'm going to defend my position with Sachin Tendulkar. And I'll tell you really quick, because I know time is of the essence. I'm going to go back to my point where your part-time bowlers, Brian Charles Lara, yes, I agree, one of the best batsmen ever. However, he was not really a part-time bowler. Sachin Tendulkar, he could be your go-to man in the instance of your frontline bowlers not able to pick up the big wickets.
Yes, Sachin, we got you. We got you, Sachin. So your three already documented. Chris, let's get your three quickly, and then Orville's three.
Sachin, you have to go pick some spinners in your bowling, man, and stop relying on the part-timers.
What are your three?
Chris, your three.
My three is the same as Tino. I just wanted to say to Orville, he made a comment, and because Ivey Richards is out of that panel 3.
Yeah.
Tell
when
us your three.
Ivey retired in 1991, the bowlers at the top of the list for most wickets ever, the best bowlers in the world, were all the bowlers that he faced. Dennis Lilly, Jeff Thompson, Wasim Akram, Imran Khan.
Chris, we just need for you to articulate your three, though. Just tell us the three.
Viewers.
I told you, it's the same three as Tino.
No, but tell us
The producers want you to call the names.
Richards, Lara, Tendulkar.
Yeah, especially for the viewers who might now be tuning in. We need you to just, tell us.
And Orville, your three.
Bradman, easy name to call, and the most Bradman-esque since Bradman, Steve Smith. It was a very difficult decision between Lara, Viv, and Tendulkar, but Lara's ability to bat pressure. Tendulkar and Viv Richards had better teams to play around, and Brian Lara's gargantuan appetite for huge scores. This guy has 19 scores, or 20 above 150. At his best over a spell, he's a little bit better than those two, so he gets that third spot for me.
So Brian seems to have made it in easily.
Yeah. So Bradman, Lara, and Steve Smith.
That's
for Orville Higgins, and our producers will make the quick tally now, and then we will see what the panelists have decided based on the consensus from the panelists who are on today, and I believe some of the others who were on earlier on, like the Chris Taylors and so on of this world.
So Steve Smith got 2 votes, so he's out. Don Bradman gets the X again.
Australian guy.
Another X lands.
So Bradman is out, and Steve Smith is out.
And the producers have used up their wild card.
So Brian Lara, Sachin Tendulkar, and Vivian Richards are the 3 batsmen to fill positions 3, 4, and 5. Wow, this has been an exhausting experience. Very, very riveting as well.
I would say exciting, not exhausting.
We are doing a program for a West Indian audience, and we have 2 West Indians between 3 and 5.
Tino, are you happy? Because there were some pronouncements just now that I'm sure you didn't like from the Trini man.
No, not at all. To each their own. But I am talking about a body of work, and Orville is saying that we are West Indians and we picked 2 West Indians. When the Australians and the Englishmen got the opportunity to pick their teams, they picked Sir Jack Hobbs and them people, brothers. But I'm not saying that we are picking West Indians. I'm not saying that we are picking West Indians because we are being biased.
Yes.
But if we are talking about cricket,
Yes.
we play. Listen, I go back to that comment, that statement from the great man Bunny Wailer. We play cricket for the value of cricket. If you love the game of cricket, there's no way that if you got 5 of those guys if you're a pure cricket guy,
Yes.
and you're talking about a body of work over a period of time against the best bowlers, aggressive, pressure, those 3 that I pick has to be your pick if you're a cricket realist.
Very forcefully put, Tino. Very forcefully
Tino,
put,
let me
Tino.
ask you one thing. You're talking about cricket. Viv Richards, like I said, we all love him.
Yeah.
Viv Richards scored 24 centuries, 121 test matches. This guy, Steve Smith, has already scored more centuries than Viv Richards with 26, and he has played about 73 to 121. He's played about 50 tests less and 2 more centuries. That is cricket, Tino.
Yes.
That is not sentiment.
Okay,
Here you go.
and Tino, we don't have time for a response. At some later point, maybe when you see Orville in person, you can tackle him
I might
about
run
that.
in the other direction
but-
when he sees me.
But yes, because Tino is busy in the gym, so
Yeah.
he looks a little intimidating, Orville. But
Good
Chris,
guy, though. Good guy.
Chris,
Good guy.
Tino, and Sachin, thank you very much for joining us. Remember, the online votes, you have the opportunity to continue voting. We've heard what the panelists have voted for. We've heard from the presenters and the zone team what we have voted for. Your votes have just been pointed at from a standpoint of how it is going. We very regularly give you the online votes, and as you saw earlier on, Brian Lara very popular with the votes at the moment. You have until the 22nd of May to pick your ultimate 11. You have 40%. Well, your votes will value 40%. The votes of the panelists value 30%. The value of the votes for the presenters value 30%. And the votes from the panelists today also included David Brooke and Chris Daring, who were part of the panel earlier on this week. On Monday, the SportsMax Cricket Ultimate 11 discussion continues. And what we'll talk about on Monday will be the all-rounders. For many, that's a shoo-in position for a certain Barbadian, but those are the lists of all-rounders that will be decided on. Just one all-rounder spot, so though you're seeing many names there, only one all-rounder spot on the Cricket Ultimate 11. Back